All right, so everybody, today we're going to do some strap work, a decent amount. All right, so I'm going to say about shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider for some of you. For me, that's fine. But if you're tighter in the chest muscles, then you're going to go a little wider with the strap. Okay. The strap is all sorts of backwards, but whatever. It'll suffice. I don't want to spend an hour trying to figure this out. Anyway, so we've got 3 more classes. I cannot believe that this month has flew by. And I know many of you have already signed up for the strength immersion, which starts October 6th, I believe is the date. And if you're not practicing live, then the calendar doesn't matter, of course. You'll be coming in whenever you feel like it. And very, I think it's a really important immersion for any yogi, and it's going to be something that I think everyone can benefit from, regardless of where you are at in your practice. How long or how short you've been practicing doesn't matter. What your skill set doesn't matter. It just matters that you have the desire to get stronger in your body, increase your range of motion, and ultimately get to know yourself physically on a deeper level. So again, that link will be above here. You'll have a special discount code, of course, that you can use, and you can see that in the link above. Let's grab the strap normally how we've been doing it, just to warm up the rotator cuff muscles. You can roll your shoulders up, back, and then down, and then pull the strap tight, and then start to just do your external rotations to get the external rotators strengthened. A few of these, get these muscles warmed up. And I just want to remind you that it's a rotation, not a side-to-side movement. Okay, so the elbows just stay where they are, and the arm bones are rotating in the shoulder socket. If anything, when your hand goes back like this, your elbow can go forward slightly, but not out, forward. That would increase the external rotation. Most people do this, and it just makes it easy on them. I mean, it's not that it's bad, it's only going to be working the deltoid muscles, which is also cool. You can do that on purpose, but not the goal for right now. Okay. Now let's do the internal rotators. So you strap around the back, and we bring the strap in the hand, the elbow. The strap gets caught in the elbow. This hand pulls it tight, and this one pulls in. Hey Patricia, welcome in. This is going to work the internal rotators against that resistance. So you see how tight the strap is? It's making it effortful for me. Okay, let's switch sides. Cool. Take the loop. We're going to bring it out in front. We get the deltoids to activate by spreading the fingers. Pull the arms apart here. You're going to feel your deltoids, the shoulder muscles here on the sides in particular, start to activate by pulling the strap apart. If you want, you can kind of mess around a little bit with protraction and retraction, but really focus mostly making sure that the action of pulling the strap apart is happening. Okay, and relax. Put your strap aside. Let's come to all fours. Get our warm up going. Together, inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Let's make our way to down dog as you exhale. Feel free to pedal out the legs or move the hips, whatever your body needs in this moment. Listen for it, feel for it. Shift forward into plank pose. Grip the fingers into the ground. Take a full breath into the upper back. As you exhale, place the knees down. Lower. Inhale, just lift the heart. Exhale. Inhale, lift the heart and feet. Exhale. Inhale, heart, hands, and feet. All fours. Tailbone up, downward dog. Right leg to the sky. Bend the knee, open up the hip, please. Breathe into the right side. Exhale it out. Straight leg, square hip. Step forward. Turn the back heel down, walk the hands to the inside. Move the groins back. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, bend the elbows and bow. Inhale, lift the body up slow. Press down into your feet here. Exhale, slowly bow. Press your feet down. Inhale, tuck the tail a little, rise up. Exhale, back down. Walk the hands to the front of the mat. Straighten through the front leg. Stay here and lengthen. First, adjust the pelvis so it's level. Lengthen the spine. Hold. Try to get more, just a kind of a gentle arch in the low back and a rounding of the upper back. One more breath. Bend the knee. Come to down dog. Forward to plank. Lower down the knees. Chaturanga. Just the heart. Release. Heart and feet. Release. Heart, hands, and feet. All fours. Exhale, down dog. Inhale the left leg to the sky. Exhale, bend knee. Open the hip.
We breathe in here together. And out. Straighten through the left leg, inhale, square the hip. Step forward. Turn the back heel down, walk the hands to the inside. As you exhale, bend the elbows and bow. Scoop the tail, press down through the feet. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, bend the elbows and bow. Again, press down through the feet, tuck the tail, lift the heart. Exhale. Walk the hands back to the center. Pivot the back heel up, straighten through the front leg. Adjust the pelvis. Round the upper back a little bit. Slowly try to arch just gently into the low back. Long through the top of the head. Can I turn the volume up a little bit? Yeah, let me check. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, that's at a normal volume, so maybe it's just my voice that's a little low today. Because this is all, let me just check. I can raise this slightly, but I don't want to get too peaked out. Hey, 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 check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, 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 1, 2, 1, 2. That should be a little bit louder, hopefully. Okay, step to down dog, please. Roll forward into plank pose. Inhale. Lower the knees, chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide. Inhale, 3-part cobra. Melt. Pull the chest forward and up. Exhale, release. Come to all fours, hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step right foot forward. Let me just make sure, is this plugged in properly? Yeah, okay. Inhale, rise, high lunge, inhale all the way up. Open up, warrior 2. Okay, groins back. So left hip back like this, but keep the right knee out to the right. So deepen the pelvis by sticking your butt back, and at the same time press your right heel down and widen your knee out to the side so you stretch the inner groins. Let's get the shoulders warmed up. Inhale, internal rotation and anterior tilt. Exhale, external rotation, posterior tilt to the scapula. Inhale, anterior tilt to the scapula, internal rotation. Exhale, external rotation, posterior tilt to the scapula. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Head should be facing the same way as the heart when you do these, by the way. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up. Inhale to plank pose. Chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide. Inhale, 3-part cobra. Melt. Pull the heart through the shoulders. Press the chest to the front. Exhale, release. Plank. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky. Step forward. Rise, high lunge. Open up, warrior 2. Bend the elbows. Inhale, internal rotation. Shoulders climb over the chest.
Turn your head to the side wall. Exhale, external rotation. Palms face up. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. One more. Reach the arms out, groins back. Press your left knee out to the left with the groins back, stretching the left inner thigh. And press the left outer heel down. Full breath in. And out. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Slide the hands and feet wide. Inhale, 3-part cobra. Soften. Inhale, pull the chest forward. Lift the belly up. Exhale, release. Plank or all fours. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Let's enjoy a full breath in together. Full breath out. 2 more. Walk the feet to the front of the yoga mat. All right, soften your knees. Well, just a little bit, and grab your strap and take it behind you. Loop your hands inside the strap, but place your hands on your low back. Lean forward and then bow. Now, let your shoulders come to your ears and then start to squeeze your shoulder blades together toward each other. Squeeze your elbows toward each other. Keeping your shoulder blades squeezed together, pull the strap apart with your hands and start to straighten the elbows. Now, some of you who are on the more flexible end, I'm going to suggest you try to pull your shoulder blades towards your buttocks. In this case, it's up, or however you want to look, down your back or up to the sky, however you want to look at that. Shoulder blades towards your buttocks, depress them. If you are more on the tighter end of the spectrum and you're struggling in this position to get the arms to extend, then allow your shoulder blades and shoulders to move towards your ears so that you can gain more range of motion. It's easier there. Spread your fingers as you're pulling the strap apart. Okay, hands to hips, arch the back, and rise all the way up. Take the strap, bring it in front of you, loop the hands, turn your palms face up, roll your shoulders back a little bit. You see I'm moving the top of the shoulder back. It's going to be a little more downward tilt. And then pull the strap apart like you're holding something up in your palms. Okay, bend the knees for chair pose. Pull the strap apart, just so you can see from the front. Okay, and I'm allowing the elbows to hug in here. Ooh, missing a camera. Let me get that going. I'm allowing the elbows to kind of draw in while the hands are pulling apart. Where'd you go, camera? Let's go. Stay with us. Okay, so you're in chair pose. Rolling the shoulder heads back, pulling the strap apart, palms face up. One more breath. And bow forward. You can keep the strap where it is. Halfway lift, inhale. Step your left foot back. Come up to high lunge. Pull the strap apart. Let your shoulders, so when you get to this point, shoulders come up to the ears, then let your hands follow. Okay, most of the time people will come here and pull the shoulders down. That causes that impingement. So shoulders up will retrain you a little bit.
Now pull the strap apart. Palms are facing towards each other. That's the highest I got, sorry. And you're pulling the strap apart. I'm thinking pull apart with my thumbs, okay, rather than the pinky side of my hand. Pull apart with the thumbs. Some of you will be able to use this to pull the armpits back, and then your hands will be able to go further back. And slow release. If you're finding that the strap is too tight, then you can loosen it. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower. We'll have to come out of our strap, unfortunately. Inhale, 3-part cobra. Exhale, melt. Inhale, pull the chest forward and up. Exhale to release. Press to all fours or plank. Exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky. Step your right foot between your hands. Obviously, you're gonna have to move your strap out of the way. Back heel pivots down. And we take the strap and we're gonna do a humbled warrior. So bring the strap and loop it around one arm, bring it around the back side, and then put your other hand in that loop. See if this helps you. So you see my hands are looped in the strap. It doesn't matter, I have it a little twisted, but it's okay. So the hands are in the strap here. Then move your chest off of your thigh, pull the strap apart, and you'll see how my shoulder blades move toward each other as I pull the strap apart and reach the arms overhead. Again, if you're on the tighter end of the spectrum, please allow your shoulders to move towards your ears. You'll get more range of motion. If you're on the more flexible end of the spectrum and your arms are reaching overhead, then you can pull the shoulder blades back down towards your tailbone to gain a little bit more stability in the shoulder girdle. All the while, everybody's pulling the strap apart. Let's do 2 more breaths. Okay, release the strap. And turn the torso to the front, which means it's going to be easier to turn your back toes in a little bit, okay? Start to straighten through the right leg. Left hand to the hip for triangle preparation. I like to push my 2 heels apart, but if you feel that by doing so, you jam your knee down into the ground, then what you can do is press the top or press the front foot down into the ground as if you're trying to drag it back. And that should get your hamstrings engaged. Just even pressing the foot straight down like a lever, as if you're trying to push the earth down, should get your hamstrings active, and that will cause the knee not to overly straighten, not to hyperextend at the knee. So pressing the front foot down, the whole bottom of the foot, the sole of the foot presses straight down into the ground. And a lot of people also, they mistaken where the foot is and they press the knee down into the ground, jamming the knee further into the earth. That's not the foot. So press your foot down, your knee will actually lift up. Okay, and then slowly come out of your triangle, pivot the back heel up. Please step forward and enjoy a half lift. Exhale, bow forward. Let's grab the strap, loop it, come up to chair pose, bend the knees. Pull the strap apart, palms up this time. Hips back, groins back. Push your heels out isometrically, keeping that arch in the spine. Hands pull apart. Two more breaths. All right, keep the strap, bow forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Step the right foot back. Inhale, rise, high lunge, pulling the strap apart as you go. Again, shoulders, as the hands, wherever the hands are, that's where the shoulders should be going as well. So if the hands are forward, shoulders are going forward. As the hands rise up, the shoulders are reaching up, okay? As the hands go back, the armpits go back. So as I'm pulling the strap apart with my thumb side of the hand the best I can lift each armpit up and move it back slightly. That gives me more range of motion. Okay, from there, pulling the strap apart might give you some access to extra range of motion. Now, of course, if you feel any pinching or pain in the shoulder, you've gone too far for what your ability to do right now with your strength of your shoulders. Okay, so it takes time to be able to get the armpits back and to keep the rotator cuff muscles strong there. And release. Plank pose, if you want to unstrap here, you can. Lower. Slide hands and feet wide. Inhale, 3-part. Exhale, soften. Pull the belly and chest to the front of the mat. And up. Exhale. All fours or plank. Exhale, down dog. Let's enjoy one breath in and one breath out. Left leg to the sky. Exhale, step through. Back heel comes down. Again, we're going to take the loop. This is probably easier to see from this angle. I take the loop in one arm and I find my way, however I can, to get the other hand in the loop, pull the strap apart, and then I come inside. See, now I'm resting on my knee. I come inside the knee and bow as I pull the strap apart. Again, at some point, I don't have to say this, but still for now, shoulder blades come up to the buttocks if you're more flexible. If you're tighter, let the shoulders fall to the ears. Pressing the feet down into the ground. And sometimes when I say that, I know some of you are like, well, my feet are already pressing into the ground. They might be pressing in the ground because of the weight of gravity in your body are pushing them into the ground, but pressing them into the ground is an action of engagement of your muscles. So you push the ground down or you push the ground away from you, and it should result in a little lift of your hips, but ultimately what we're going for is an engagement of the hips. Okay, come on out. And again, you can watch the back foot. You can turn the back toes in significantly, about 45 degrees. Walk the hands back and start to straighten through the legs. And so if you're, like the jamming of the knee, that's kind of what you do, then can you press the sole of the foot straight down as if you're trying to push the ground away? And if you need to, it might help to drag your foot back a little to get the front hamstrings engaged, but that might be too dramatic. I think just pushing the bottom of the foot down into the earth gets my calf muscles, gets my hamstrings, and partially I'm pushing through the whole foot, not just the heel down, but the whole foot down, and that's what gets the back chain of the body. But then pushing the back heel isometrically down and back gets the outer hips on this side to engage the top side. Okay, keeping that, turning the chest. Utthita Trikonasana. Let's enjoy a few more breaths. And release. Okay, and we're actually going to step to Malasana, stretch the inner thighs a little bit here, and take your elbows and simply push the knees out away from one another. Okay, and as you do so, pull the knees back in so you start to engage the inner thigh muscles called the adductors. Those of you that did the hip submersion are very familiar with where the adductors are, but I know some of you weren't in that, so I want to make sure that we have a little common understanding here that the inner thigh muscles, these are called the adductors, and to engage them, you squeeze into your elbows, squeeze into your forearms. 2 more breaths. All right. Hands down, turn the toes in. Inhale, lengthen the chest. Exhale, bow. 2 more just the same way. Inhale, lengthen. Okay, please step your left foot back now. Pivot the back heel down and take your right hand, maybe on a block, to the inside of your right foot. Okay, and you're in side angle preparation. I'm just adjusting my feet, front heel bisects back arch, just a little bit off on that. Okay, as you get into this position, I'd like you to press your 2 feet down into the ground and pull them gently toward each other. Really focus in on pressing the front heel down, and then see if you can get your right buttocks. Let's go a little bit so you can see the right buttocks here. Scoop slightly under the pose. So not press it forward, that's not the same thing. I actually keep my left thigh back, you see that? And then I move my pelvis underneath. Now, lengthen the spine and rotate. Left hand to the sky. Optionally, you might really enjoy this here, so you rotate the left shoulder inward. Okay, so internally rotate it. Let the shoulder roll over to bend the elbow. Then, as you turn your chest again, you can slide your hand into a half bind. Turn your chest to the sky. Now what we're going to try to do is keep the half bind as you slowly pivot the back toes in, heel out, slowly begin to straighten the leg a little bit. And you might have to bring the block back a significant amount for this to work out. Okay, so you're in a half bound Trikonasana triangle pose. A little wider stance can sometimes make it a lot easier. Sometimes it makes it harder. For many of us, it'll make it easier to kind of keep the chest and torso down more. Okay, bend the right knee. Release the half bind by rolling the shoulder forward. Okay, I'm going to place the block on the other side of the mat. We can actually, let's step to down dog for a moment. And while we're here, take the right shin across the mat. And do a little twist here. This will just help warm up the hips a little more. So left forearm down, right hand is just helping prop you up into a little twist toward the leg. Pour a little body weight towards your left hip, the opposing hip. All right, come on out. Step to down dog. Should be sufficiently uneven now. Walk the feet to the front of the mat. Let's take another Malasana, please. Elbows on the inside. Squeeze in with your knees. Push out with your elbows. Squeeze hips up away from, so you're not sitting down here. Hips up. Squeeze in with the knees, push out with the elbows. Just in case you're watching me and wonder what I'm doing, I have my right side is far more tense than my left. My left is very open, so I'm trying not to put as much effort on the left side as far as stretching it and lengthening it, but my right side needs a little more length than the left. Some of you might find the same. My right side is just significantly tighter. So it feels good to stretch it more, whereas the left side does not feel good to stretch it more. Push me too much into flexibility. You don't want to push yourself too far into flexibility. All right, let's go to the left side. You'll step your right foot back. Again, block is quite nice for this. Ease us into these deep postures. So front heel bisects back arch. You can play with this pelvic tilt. So the right thigh bone back, it'll stick your butt out, and then you scoop your tail. See that? Okay, and when I do that, I press down through the left heel, and that's what gets the left glutes fired up, which are the muscles that help to rotate the pelvis under. Okay, the left shoulder, internally rotate, let the shoulder climb over the chest. And then don't try to grab, if you try too soon to grab this thigh, it makes it very miserable on the shoulder. Instead, turn the chest, and that should give you a little more access. When you turn your chest, it brings the hand closer to that half bind. Okay, so use the spiraling of the spine to get that half bind. And a lot of times, people can't get the half bind, not because their shoulder isn't flexible enough, it's because their pelvis isn't rotating enough, meaning their left glutes aren't strong enough, and perhaps their spine isn't rotating enough, and so perhaps their obliques and rotators of the spine are not strong enough to rotate them within this posture. That's normal. Left glutes tend to be very weak, or glutes in general tend to be weak for many people, and so pressing the foot down here and rotating the pelvis tends to be very hard or effortful. Let's do a few more breaths. Okay, looking down, slide the block back a little bit, turn the back toes in, heel out, lean your body weight back into the back foot, and start to straighten through the left leg. Just give you another camera angle. Okay, it's a fairly wide triangle, you can see that, right? It makes it easier for me to stay down low. The shorter the triangle, the harder it is to get the torso down low, for the most part, not for everybody, but for the most part, because when you go wider, it puts less tension on this outer hip and obliques here. It allows the pelvis to kind of tip downward more. Also, you don't have to turn your pelvis all the way open to the sky in triangle pose, okay? In opposition of what I just said about side angle. The tendency for triangle poses is that people open up their pelvis too much, and as a result, they diminish their ability to tip at the pelvis. So they are different poses, okay? So here, close the pelvis a little bit. That'll help you tip the pelvis more so you can come down lower. And then rotate the spine against the rotation of the pelvis. So the pelvis rotates down, spine rotates up. At this point in time, you may be starting to get some pins and needles in your right shoulder from being in that half bind for a while. That's normal, by the way. Okay, you can slowly bend the knee, come out of your half bound triangle, release the block, come to downward facing dog. Let's enjoy a breath. Okay, left shin across the mat. Hips back, and we do a twist by taking the right forearm to the ground. Left hand keeps you propped up, and you can simply lean a little to the right hip, and that will give you a nice stretch in the left outer hip and buttocks. Slowly come on out. We step to down dog. All right, bring the knees to the ground. I'm gonna take a couple seated postures just to warm up our side body and inner thighs a little bit more, get everybody awake. So your left heel comes into the groin, and then you move your butt back. Right hand, this is a great time, sorry, almost forgot. You put the strap, loop it around your foot, okay? Your right hand, left hand will grab strap, right hand can grab the heel or your thigh. One's a little bit more extreme. Your left shoulder, lift it up to the ear, okay? And as you lift it up to the ear, your elbow creates like a little window to look underneath, okay? Then turn the chest, side bend over. Now you might find that this is too, the strap is perhaps too wide, in which case you can double the loop, you know, kind of get it around there a little differently. Or some of you will just grab the foot. You can grab the heel or you can grab the thigh like I have here, that's fine too. I'm pressing the bent knee, the left knee, down and out as well, getting the glutes to fire up, while still tipping the pelvis slightly anteriorly, meaning sticking the bum back, pubic bone down. That gives me the range of motion to side bend. All right, come on up. All right, switch sides. Okay, again, you can either loop the strap or double loop it in this case. Okay. Bend the elbow, shoulder to the ear, bend the elbow, and look under the window. Grabbing armpit back, by the way, right armpit back. Shoulder to the ear, right armpit back. Pressing my right knee down and out. If you feel pressure on the shoulder, the right shoulder, it's because the strap or whatever you're holding is kind of winning out over the armpit. So make the strap wider. You want to get the armpit to, yes, shoulder to the ear, but you still want to pull on whatever it is to get the armpit back. Top of the arm bone back, head of the arm bone back, wherever you want to look at it, that's going to be that downward tilt. It's going to be the more posterior tilt of the scapula as you slide the top portion of the armpit back. You feel your neck muscles, called trapezius muscles there, activate. Your rhomboids will activate. It'll keep you from impinging the shoulder. Okay, come on up. Ooh, yeah. That's intense. All right, so now we're going to do, in a previous class in this immersion, we did bound side angle. We're going to do bound side angle, but with a strap instead. It's going to be a little more intense of an opening on the shoulders. In one respect, it's easier because you have a strap and you're not having to get the full bind. Okay, in another respect, it's more intense because it doesn't require, but it gives you an opportunity for greater range of motion in the shoulders. So I'll show it to you first. From the back side, I think is easiest to see all the mechanics of what's going on here. I take the strap, I loop it with the top hand, and I pass it around the back side. I got a tail there. And then with the left shoulder, I'm going to come down as low as I can and slide this hand into the loop. If you can't do that, then just widen the loop so it's bigger for you. Now, I slide my top of my right thigh bone back, and then watch me scoop the left buttocks underneath. Okay? So, right thigh bone back, that's the back leg. Scoop, rotate the spine, and now, keeping my left shoulder here, you see how it's below the leg. Keep it below the leg. I start to pull the strap apart. Okay, see my fingers are spreading wide. The right shoulder blade is retracted. Let's see if I can give you another angle. Pulling the strap apart, rotating the pelvis. Okay, your turn. I just did the left side first, so maybe do the left side first as well. So we'll do the right side together and give you an opportunity to do the left. So you align front heel with bisecting back arch. And you got to get low with the torso at first, okay? So send the groins back. With your right hand, you have the loop. You have your hand in the loop, okay? Then pass it around your backside and go underneath the left leg. So go under with your left shoulder. You see that? Like that, okay? And then grab the strap. So you are in Baddha or bound side angle, Baddha partial konasana, just with the strap there, okay? Before you rotate or before you pull the strap apart, start to press your left heel down, scoop the tailbone so your left buttocks activates and your pelvis rotates. Then rotate your spine. Then pull the strap apart, spread the fingers, and roll just a little bit with the right shoulder, top shoulder back. If you feel anything weird when you start pulling the shoulder back, then you can let it roll forward. Okay, rolling it back will be a greater intense stretch, and that might be too much for you, or it might be what you need. So just kind of listen in there to your body. All right, so when you're ready, we are going to travel to the right side together. You can take a breather. Okay, and take side angle on the right. With now the left hand is going to start the strap. Okay. Together, when you're ready, let's join in. You're gonna come on down, go underneath so your shoulder is as low as possible, okay? And then loop your hand in the strap. Left groin back, press your right heel down to scoop your right buttocks under the pose. Whoop. Then lay back onto your thigh and roll the torso open. Now pull the strap apart. Spread your fingers, open the chest. All right, come on out. If you have any questions regarding that, please let me know. We are going to do one more posture. That's the next level up. So please notify me if you have questions. And the next posture is essentially the same, bound or Baddha Trikonasana, bound triangle pose. The major difference is the required flexibility in the adductors, inner thighs, and hamstrings. And you got to think about it. If triangle is a big stretch of your inner thighs and hamstrings, then bound triangle is a massive stretch for those, and it may not, probably is not appropriate for you. So I want you to watch it if you're not, if you're still like really challenged by triangle pose itself. It's not going to get easier now because, you know, especially if if your open variation here, if you couldn't get your shoulder, this shoulder too low, this is simulating what happens in triangle, is in bound triangle, is that you've got to get your shoulder down here about to where your inner thigh is, okay? So it's gonna come all the way down here. If that's not possible in that pose, in open Janu Shirshasana, then it's not gonna be possible in standing triangle, okay? Because it's the same pose essentially, at least in relationship to the whole right side, there's no difference. The left side a little bit different, but everything on the right side is the same. So bound triangle, and I'm gonna suggest with the strap, you can do it with me or you can watch and then do it, whichever one you prefer. But just if you're gonna do it with me, make sure you're listening to the cues really strongly. Of course, you could always pause the video as needed. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up in like a Parsvakonasana side angle posture to begin with, okay? And then I'm gonna start to straighten through the front leg while keeping the torso low, okay? In this position here, if I'm not comfortable or if this is way too intense, then it's not going to be possible to go to the next step. Okay, so just be honest with yourself. Okay, and then take your left hand with the loop and bring it around your backside. Now here's the thing: you've got to rebend the knee, and this is normal for to get into bound side angle, regardless if you have a strap. You rebend the knee to grab the loop of the strap. And then very slowly you lay your chest back with a bent knee, and only to the degree that you don't feel any strain, pain, or anything weird, you can start to straighten through the right leg. And you can, of course, rotate the chest only to the degree that you don't feel anything weird, painful, or straining. And then you pull the strap apart into bound side angle, Baddha Trikonasana. Out by bending the knee. Okay, we're going to do the other side. As you are ready, just monitoring to see if anybody has questions. We're all good so far. Okay, so also just share your experience. If it's too intense or you're loving it or whatever, let me know. Left side, here we go. Again, we just do this as a little bit of a test. You take your left hand to the inside of the foot, back heel turns out, toes in. Start to straighten, and if you can't keep your shoulder low, like in contact with the leg, then this posture is not going to be any nicer than, you know, the bound version is not going to be any nicer than this right here. So you take your loop, and so you might just be in this posture without any bound situation at all, or you might just go to bound side angle again. That's a great position to stay in. Okay, one or the other, either working on triangle or working on your bound side angle. So I rebend to get the left hand into the strap, and I'm bowing to the inside of the foot like humbled warrior. Back heel moves back. Start to straighten through the leg. And then like a back bend, I rotate over my thigh. Okay. Then I can start to pull the strap apart. Work your way out of that pose.
then today what we'll do as a cool down is almost like a warm up to get the inner legs back into integrity so they're not just left there all out on their own. So what you'll do is you can place a block or 2 blocks between your legs, and we'll do some bridge lifts. And the major thing here is you're not trying to go for like maximum hip extension or anything like that, but you want to rotate the thighs inward to squeeze the block. Not just squeeze the block, but rotate inward in particular. Now, it's easier to have 2 blocks between so that your legs aren't having to be so narrow. So if you've got 2 blocks or a wide block, you'll squeeze the block in, not by just squeezing in, but by rotating in, okay? Spinning the thigh bones into the block. Okay, so let's do some bridge lifts. The leg is totally extended in the front leg question. For most people, no. Bound much more challenging on left side than right. I've become re-aware of a previous injured hamstring, so I'm not fully straightening my leg. Good, don't. Well, you know, you gotta ask yourself, why would you fully straighten it? If you have no issue with straightening it, and yeah, sure. But you know, what's the purpose? Is it gonna do anything for you? Probably not, right? So I caution on the side of just straightening, or I should say I straighten only to the point where I don't feel anything weird, painful, or straining. And so as soon as I start to feel like a stretch sensation start to creep in there, I'm gonna back off. You know, if I feel it by the knee, I might feel it by my groin, wherever you feel it, just take note. The best thing you can do is find a way to activate your muscles so you don't feel a stretch sensation. For me, like I said earlier in this class, is pressing the foot down. For some of you, pushing the feet apart. For some of you, pulling the feet toward each other. One of those actions, as you know, again, we go over that extensively in the hip immersion, but one of those actions is going to help you to diminish the stretch sensation. You don't want that strain. You just want it to feel warm and easeful. There's what would be a toning of the muscle, meaning a 15 to 20% activation or something of this nature, where you feel it engaged. You don't feel the strain, stretch, or I don't even really feel a stretch, and that's kind of, I'm not really going for that stretch sensation. I'm aiming to get into the posture without feeling a stretch. So that requires a certain amount of activation. Okay. Let's see. Smoothie says, oh, by the way, so come into a bridge lift while I listen to these. So just on your back, turn the thighs in, lift your hips up. This trigonometric variation feels amazing. Slight overstretch of the side of the neck muscles. Okay. I soften a little bit, but the pose felt good on the shoulders and the hamstrings and the inner thighs. So you probably don't want to drop your head down in this pose if you're kind of overstretching in the side of the neck muscle. You can keep the head lifted in line with the spine. Okay, maybe too much shoulder pulling back, perhaps, might be part of that. Jessica Roberts says, straight arms is much harder than just doing the bind. Am I doing something wrong? No, when you straighten the arms, you're stretching more muscles. So, on one level, you might use the strap as a way for people to gain more access to the pose because they don't have to be able to bind the arms. On another level, you might use the strap because it can help you to go deeper. So straps are not always, or props, yoga props and stuff are not always inhibitors for increasing the challenge of a posture or whatever, or a range of motion or strength. They can be something that actually promotes depth or strength or intelligence, and that's typically what I'm going for. Okay, so a few bridge lifts if you're not already on them, turning your thighs in. And this purpose here to do these is to reactivate the hamstrings and the adductor magnus. Again, turning the thighs in and squeezing the block. We're not trying to, it doesn't matter how high up your hips are going, only that your buttock muscles, your hamstrings, and your inner thighs are active. Okay, pressing down through the inner heels can help that. So I'm squeezing the block with the fronts of the thighs. You can squeeze the block with the backs of the thighs too. If you'd like to just switch it up, that'll be adductor magnus a little bit there when you squeeze with the backs of the hamstrings. When you squeeze with the fronts, it's going to be more like pectineus or the adductor longus, the muscles in the kind of
more adductor, whereas when you squeeze the backs of the legs, you're gonna feel your glutes, your hamstrings, and adductor magnus, which tends to be more like a hamstring, okay? And then release down. So we just want to get these muscles, after stretching, reintegrated, reawakened, so that you don't leave them feeling like they've been pulled apart. Let's do another one. Squeeze the blocks, press the hips up to the amount that you can, press straight down through your feet, squeezing inward, rotating inward, but also if you want to just, I'm going back and forth, squeezing the backs of the hamstrings into the block, which would be more external rotation, and squeezing the fronts of the thighs, more internal rotation. Okay, kind of doing the two, we'll get all those muscles that we worked to be reactivated. Okay, and then releasing down, removing the blocks. Maybe just a little gentle knee towards the chest. And then take your Shavasana or any variation thereof. Feels good for today. Might be nice for the adductors to do constructive rest on purpose, turning the thighs in and letting the knees knock together. We'll shorten the adductor muscles, give them a passive engagement or passive shortening. awareness back to your breathing and your body. Stretch the arms when you're ready. Roll to your side, come up to a seated position. All right, place the palms together in front of the heart. With gratitude for this body and for this practice that has been passed down to us, that allows us to get to know ourselves more fully. And for this community that we practice with, everyone here, both live and afterwards, contributing to the energy and the growth, our emotional breakthroughs, our physical breakthroughs, our ability to focus our attention, all being strengthened by the power of each other. Thank you for stepping into this immersion today. Namaste. All right, everyone, thank you, thank you. Hope you enjoyed your time today with the strap work. I feel a lot more open. Hopefully you do as well. And if you're feeling any sort of like you overdid it in any area of the body, make sure that you do the opposite. So if you feel like you overdid the hamstrings or the adductors, make sure you engage the hamstrings, go on a hike, uphill would be best, squeezing blocks, bridge lifts, things like that. If you feel like you overstretched your pectorals at all or your deltoids, then of course we don't want to be doing that kind of stuff. And hopefully I emphasize the importance of caution, but nonetheless, sometimes we don't do that. So you can strengthen the deltoids by turning the palms up just like this. Okay. You can strengthen the pectorals by squeezing blocks together, which we're going to be doing in another practice, by squeezing everything in the front side. Okay. All right, so Debbie says, great using the straps in the binds. Thank you for another amazing class. Happy weekend. Thank you, Debbie. Nice to have you here. Jessica says, okay, thanks. Yes, much deeper stretch through the chest. Thanks, great class. Really challenging and yet perfect progression for me. Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. Glad that was the case. Sabui says, thank you for a wonderful class. See you Tuesday. Looking forward to it. And Tricia says, love the strap work. So glad to hear that. Emma says, thank you. Thank you, Emma. Denise Galvin says, everything feels amazing. Love the strap work. Thanks for another wonderful class. Amazing, Denise. Happy to hear that. Afa says, fantastic session. Thanks so much. Thanks, Afa. I'm glad to hear that. Glad you enjoyed it. Mikhail says, great. Thanks, Mikhail. Okay, everybody have a beautiful day and look forward to sharing the remainder of our time together. 2 more sessions, and then we'll have a little break between this immersion and the October. You'll have a few days off, which is good. We invite you to rest between then, and then we'll begin again in October.
Happy week, everybody. Be well. I'm going on.